We're in this moment right now, and we're going to be talking about, the levels of how high you can be. Like, we're talking about the attainable levels of how high you can be spiritually, and how this is really caused. It's like you can have psychedelic experiences without actually taking any psychedelics at all. You can have mind-altering, experiences without taking any mind-altering substances. God can allow whatever God can allow. There are no limitations to what God is allowing. And as long as it's what He wants to allow and what He's ordaining to sort of play out in this experience, then that'll happen. There are no limitations besides the limitations that, the divine or God creates. And there are no limitations as well. There are no limitations besides the limitations that you create for yourself, because limitations are an idea of the mind, are an aspect of the mind, are a sort of notion from the mind. So I had this experience just the other day, and I'm honestly still trying to process it. It was a very intense sort of mind-altering, it was a very profound experience, very profound. People were going to say that maybe I had psychosis, or I disassociated, or it was a hallucination, whatever. Maybe, for those people, that's the reality. For the ones that are gonna see this for something that isn't gonna be a sort of notion that gets casted out and dismissed, and you see it as a different thing, you see it as something greater than just an idea that's dismissing this experience that I just had, then maybe this video is for you, or maybe you can kind of understand what I'm going to talk about and get into. But I had this experience just the other day, and I was at work, right? And this was very profound. I'm honestly still trying to process exactly what even happened still. It was so intense, and it was so profound, and it was so life-changing. And it was very intense. But what happened was, I was at work, and I was in my subconscious, right? I was playing in my subconscious, and I was creating all this dialogue. I was going back and forth, with ideas and topics, and I kind of found myself talking about or thinking about in my subconscious by myself, right? When I was at work, just working and minding my own business, and just flowing into my subconscious self, into my subconscious dialogue, playing all of these topics, playing all of these ideas. And I found myself talking about how, I had this idea. I jumped to the idea that I wanted to be higher than I already am. And what happened was, I was focusing very heavily on this topic, and I was paying attention as to how I felt, because, I've been doing retention for about 7 years now, and I've been doing it for a very, very, very long time. And it's gotten to the point where it's kind of all I know now. There's I've it's a part of my being, my existence. It's a part of everything I do now. And it's one of my practices that I've been doing for years, and I'm so used to doing, and I became so desensitized from it, that it just feels like normal now. It feels like it's just a part of my nature now, and it's just I don't even think about it. I don't know what day I'm on. I don't know the last time I lost any of my juices. I don't know. I've been doing this what feels like forever now, for eternity, and it's gonna stay that way. But I mean, I was in my workspace. I was at work, and I was by myself, right? And I was just deep into my dialogue. I was deep into my head, and I was just thinking, right? I was pondering, and I was like, well, I'm doing my spiritual practices. I'm doing what works for me, that's in alignment with my code of conduct and my net of being, right? I'm doing what works for me, right? Just like you're the viewer, whoever's watching this, you're doing what works for you, whether that's eating healthy, preserving your sexual energy, serving other people, being outside in nature, yoga, meditation, karma yoga, just ways you can preserve yourself and preserve your sexual energy, self-preservation techniques and alchemical processes that have to do with you preserving yourself and your energy or your sexual energy, right? And so on. You're doing what works for you, or you still have yet to figure out what works for you as far as what it works in alignment with your net of being, with your net of existence, and with your code of conduct, your genetics, with your individualized self. You're doing what you need to do for yourself to make yourself really high and ascend from this physical realm. And when you do these things, you become more in alignment with your higher self, with your higher nature, with your, the divine source, with your higher software. And, you feel very in alignment with the divine sort of flow, with the divine source, right? And you do these things to ascend, to get high, to play high, so that you can reach your higher nature and you can serve your purpose and you can serve other people and help bring other people to that divine source that you've rose yourself to reach. So now you're helping others to get to that divine source, and whatever that means, when it comes to you doing that for other people. But you do it to play high, right? And to help others maybe too, and to serve other people. So I know I got sidetracked. So I was in my kitchen, I was working, and I was doing my thing at my job, and I was by myself, working by myself, and I was so deep in my dialogue. And what happened was I had this desire, and I had this craving to want to get higher. And I was talking to God. I was talking to the divine source. It was just me and the source. And it was just a one-on-one. It was like I was having a one-on-one conversation with the divine source. I found myself talking to the source, to the divine, and it was like a back and forth conversation. It was like I was saying what I was saying because I had the desire to want to get higher. I'm like, okay, I see everybody else. They're drinking, they're smoking weed, they're doing drugs, they're playing video games, whatever, to get high, to get a little hit of dopamine, to get a little rush of euphoria and feel a little bit high, right? So I was seeing everything and I'm like, well, I'm high right now. Like, I don't need anything. I'm great. And I was talking to the divine. It was just like a one-on-one conversation. But I was in my conscious, and I was in my dialogue, my inner dialogue. And I'm like, I just want to get higher. Like, I feel good now, but I need it. I need this for some reason. Like, I just need to experience this. I need this. And I had no attachment. There was no, when I was asking for this like desire, for this craving of wanting to be higher than I already was, and I already am, I didn't have like this egoic attachment. I didn't have this, you know, identity that was attached to it. Like, I was just flowing authentically. I had no attachment to try and serve myself and to try and serve my image or my ego. I didn't have any, worldly attachments to this desire and this craving and this want, right? So I was like, I need this. And I was being as authentic as I could. I stepped forward, and I was like, it felt like you can basically picture me on my knees. And I'm like, I need this. I don't have this attachment to it, this egoic attachment. I'm not doing it to serve myself or my image or my character or my appearance. I am doing this because I want to do it. I have this like craving for this experience, and I have this drive, and I have this desire for this experience, right? All of a sudden, like I was just so deep into it. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm looking down, and I'm in the kitchen. I'm in my workspace. I look down, and that's when I found myself in what felt like a hyper surreal kind of experience. I didn't know where I was. I was like this. I had no idea what was going on anymore. It's like it's like God's or the divine snapped its fingers. All of a sudden, it's like it never even started. This sort of like state of consciousness, this state of being, it never began. It never started. I just ended up in this situation with this altered state, with this altered sense of self. I didn't know who I was anymore. I completely lost sense of time. I completely lost sense of myself. I had no thoughts. I had no sense of self. I had no identity. I had no sense of time. I had no sense of anything. Everything felt foreign. Everything felt alienated. I had no idea where I was. I had no idea about anything. And this lasted about 5 seconds. It's like I went from 0 to 100 in like within the blink of an eye. Like, my state of awareness was so great. It's like I had no sense of self. I had no sense of anything. No sense of time. No sense of anything. I just felt so in alignment with the divine like source and the divine consciousness. It's like I became one with the source, one with the unity consciousness, one with the divine awareness and the divine consciousness. And that's all it was. It was just that for that was just it for eternity. There was no time. It just kind of flowed. And this felt so intense that I had to run out of my workspace. I had to run out of my kitchen. And it lasted about 5 seconds, this intensity. As soon as I walked outside, I already came down from that experience, but I was like still kind of in that, experience partially. It's like I was slowly coming back to my sense of self. And it was like, there was a worker right there, right next to me. And I'm like, dude, I have to go outside. And the guy that I was talking to was so confused. He had no idea what was going on. Like, I was just saying gibberish, basically, I think, to the guy. I'm like, I have to go. I gotta go outside. In my mind, I was like, I need to go outside and get more identified with this sense of self, because I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know anything. And like, I need to go outside and get outside of this building, because I need to get more identified and attached to this ego again, so that I can play this character and I can operate in society and operate at my job and handle myself the way I need to handle myself and conduct myself the way I need to conduct myself, and not be so lost, because I felt completely like I was just trying to get back to my sense of self. And I left. I went, I took a break, and then I talked to somebody in the break room, and then I like slowly started coming back. It's like God sent that person to me, because I'm like, all right, God, like, I basically said, all right, God, thanks for giving me like a taste of this experience, but I just can't handle it. I can't do it. Like, you win. You win. I can't handle this. This is extreme. Like, this level of like consciousness is insane. Like, it's like I went from 0 to 100 and like within the blink of an eye. And I just completely lost sense of self and my sense of time and everything. I had zero thoughts. I had zero internal dialogue. I had zero anything. It was just what I was seeing physically. And it felt like everything just felt very small, like just very tiny. And then I just felt like my awareness, my spirit, or my energy became one with the divine consciousness, with the divine source, with the light. And it was like a unity consciousness experience. So I rushed. That's what happened. Before I rushed out, I told the person I had to go to the break room and take a break to just get back to my ego and get grounded again, so I can know who I am and remember who I was. And it's like God sent a person to me, and he was talking to me right away. And I slowly started coming back to my sense of self, to this character that I'm playing, this identity, this puppet of a character that I'm playing. And then, minute by minute, I just came back. And that like experience, as far as like I just completely lost everything. It lasted just like 5 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. And then I came back right after that. And it was just so intense when it happened that like, I like tried really hard to like hold back onto the ego, because it was just so powerful that I needed my ego to kind of direct myself to the next destination, and to go to the next destination, and to figure out where to go and what to do. Because without that, it's like I felt like I would have been so confused. So, and then afterwards, I'm like, wow, like, you know what? Okay, I don't think I'm ready for that yet, God. I don't think I'm ready for that. It might take time for me to get to that level. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But it just, in the moment, it felt like I was, it's like when you're a little kid and you're going on a roller coaster, right? You're going on like a super crazy roller coaster, and you're like a little kid. That's how it felt. Like the intensity, right? You feel like you're going on like a crazy roller coaster. You're like, holy crap. Oh my gosh. Right? Like, it wasn't scary, but it was like, oh, I can't. This is just super intense. Feels like a super crazy roller coaster, and you're like a little kid. It's the same. It's no different. Like that's how it feels, as far as like skyrocketing your consciousness and your your awareness. It felt psychedelic. And I don't even I didn't take anything. I don't even do caffeine anymore. I live a sober life. I don't drink. I don't do anything. Just because of my it's just a personal preference. It's a personal choice. I don't even do caffeine anymore. I wasn't even caffeinated. I had nothing. And yeah, that was like a very, very I like broke through reality, it felt like, and it was very intense. It felt very psychedelic, like a very powerful, like psychedelic kind of experience. A breakthrough, it's like God was like, okay, you want to see what this is? Okay, I'll show you. I'll give you a taste of this. You want to get higher? You want to get higher? Okay, yeah, I'll give you a taste of this. You want to get higher? Okay, let me know what you think of this. And he just threw it at me. He's like, let me know how this feels, right? Like, oh, you want to get higher? Okay. You're not attached, so like you don't have that attachment, that egoic attachment. Okay, I'm gonna be able to work through you now and show you because you want it so bad. Well, I'm gonna give you a taste of this experience. And it blew me to like the roof. Like it was so powerful, it was so intense. I was not ready for that. If I was in nature and I was like outside, then I would have been able to really experience it a lot and enjoy it and really ride it out. But being in a closed, enclosed space, a room, it just made it feel way more intense and crazy. And I'm like, you know what, you win. I got a taste of it. I don't know if I can handle this right now, at least at work, handling people and dealing with people. And yeah, it was such a powerful level of like awareness and consciousness. It was insane. Like it was absolutely crazy. I just entered this like reality where I was just so detached from everything. But I was like, I saw everything and I just felt, everything felt just like kind of just smaller, I guess. But then I just snapped out so fast because I just couldn't handle it because of the environment I was in, and I just felt like I needed my ego to be able to operate and to be able to go to the next thing and to be able to talk to people, because I had to talk to people. So it really made me think a lot about about how the body can handle this energy, like how the body, it has its limitations, and it's like I feel like it can handle so much of this energy. Like you can go to levels that like no one can really go to. You can really push this body to some extreme levels as far as carrying a lot of energy, there's monks, there's yogis, there's like spirit guides who can really take it to like the next level, I think, with what they do with their yoga, with their spiritual practices. Like you can take it to such high levels in this body to where you just see a completely different reality because you're so high, right? It just completely shifts your level of perception and your consciousness, of your ego, of everything. And it's like, and it just depends on like what you do as far as like your spiritual practice, your lifestyle habits, your lifestyle choices, your callings, like what you are made to basically do. You can't do like any of this stuff without God's help, because this is the stuff you can't do for yourself that you need God to do, that God has to do for you, basically. Because as long as you're identified with whatever you want to do, you're it's really gonna hold you back, because the body and the ego, it has its limitations. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. This was my experience, and it was very intense, and I thought it was really interesting. I feel like people are gonna say like, oh, you had an episode, but I've never in my life had that happen to me, ever in my life. You know, this is like, and I live a sober life, and I don't even do caffeine, and it lasted just a few seconds. It was so fast. It was like I went from 0 to 100, and then I came back down right away. So yeah, some things are just unexplainable. Some things are just not meant to be explained. So let me know what you guys think of that one. Thanks for watching.